A very abbreviated portion of our presentation that we give to the community, and it's going to be about 30 minutes long. Then we can get to what the most important part of all of us being here today is, talking about what to do about preventing the gangs from growing and forming and embedding themselves more in our community. Just a quick disclaimer, some of the images you see may be offensive. Some words you hear are offensive. Videos, some of the pictures are not cleaned up, so I don't see any children here, so there should not be an issue.
Do you think that there are gangs in Charlottesville?
Yes, I know so. I know some girls that are involved with some, and yeah. Well, there's like gangs in Charlottesville that like to think they're really into gangs, but I don't think they're really into gangs. But they do gang-like things, but I think it's dumb.
So give us an example of gang-like things.
Like, oh, like you're a blood, you're a crip, let's get in a fight.
Do you think that we have gangs in Charlottesville?
No, I do not. I mean, I think that there's some young kids around that are, probably think they're a gang, but I don't think there are gangs around now.
What do you think defines a gang?
I'm not sure. What defines a gang? I'm not sure. I mean, I guess that they've got things that they define themselves as, but I'm not sure.
Think we have any gangs in Charlottesville?
Well, I'm originally from Chicago, and I grew up in the ghetto, so I've seen some real gang banging. I've seen a lot of murders and stuff like that. So compared to Chicago, I really don't think they have gangs. I think they have some roughnecks around here. I think they got some wannabe gang members.
But they're not really gang members. They can't even put themselves in the gang in Charlottesville.
What would define real gang members as far as that goes?
A real gang is like an established group, a group that's organized crime. These guys are not organized. They're a bunch of hoop-hops running around here, cars and stuff like that. But real organized is something that's like a really threat to community, and they have this stuff together, and they're very dangerous and very effective in causing chaos. They don't do that. It's just young people maybe just acting up, trying to act like they tough, but really ain't. Cause like I said, I'm from the roughest ghetto of Chicago, and I done seen murder like in my face, and that just doesn't compare. Although there are some bad stuff that happen, it's not comparison.
What would be a gang of great significance?
Something like an Los Angeles gang where people are constantly killing one another.
So what do we have here instead?
It's like adolescent fantasy life. That's all. I mean, they're not killing each other, so who cares what they do?
All right, thank you.
I played a video, not to make fun of the people who were being interviewed in there, but that 15 years ago probably would have been my attitude too if you said we had gangs in Charlottesville. And I was working the streets in the city then, dealing with some of them, because they've been around for over 20 years now. And I still didn't think the gangs we had were the real gangs because they weren't from LA or New York or places like that. So it took me a while to overcome that, and we got to get the community to overcome that as well. Some statistics. This is this year's statistics from the FBI. Gangs continue to expand and evolve and become more violent. In some communities, they're responsible for over 48% of the violent crimes, and in other jurisdictions, up to 90%. There are estimated over 33,000 gangs with at least 1.4 million total members from coast to coast now. This is a 40% increase in 2009 threat assessment. Okay. Reasons for they're attributed for the growth of the gangs in the area or nationwide. Improved reporting, and we are still lagging on that. There's still a lot of agencies, departments that still do not report gangs or track them accurately. So that's probably a low number. More aggressive recruitment and efforts by the gangs, we're seeing that statewide and locally. Formation of new gangs, new opportunities for drug trafficking, collaboration with rival gangs, drug trafficking organizations, and gangster rap culture. Kids are exposed to gangs in the media in a tremendous amount these days, and you'll see some of that later. The facilitation of communication and recruitment through the internet and social media, and generational gang numbers growing. We are now seeing second and third generation gang members in our area. And one of the most important things is the shortage of resources to combat gangs. We have validated in our area over 154 gang members since we started this several years ago. The validated members account for nearly 3,000 arrests in our area. So that 154 gang members that we have validated and proven to be gang members, not just associates or the hang-arounds, the ones we know to be gang members, have committed nearly 3,000 arrests in our area alone, between the city and the county. And you see some of the crimes they're involved in. Revocation of sentence, grand larceny, failure to appear, contempt of court, trespassing, assault and battery, intent to distribute, robbery, are some of the top charges. But there are other charges such as home invasions and murder as well. And the largest is bloods in the area. 60 of the 150, actually 154 are bloods. Mentality of the members. Most gang members are just a bunch of kids. We hear that all the time. They're just a bunch of kids. The ages from 12 to 24. Some are older. Like I said, we got second and third generation gang members now. The younger members are statistically more dangerous because they don't understand the repercussions. During a gang operation a couple years ago, on the Todd and I were talking to an individual off the downtown mall who formed or helped form the 6-0 gang 20 years ago. He was complaining to us, and this is a guy that I've had at gunpoint on the ground after shootings, disorders, and stuff, who were involved in serious criminal acts. He was complaining to us that the police were not doing enough and the kids were too dangerous. And he started the gang that is now still here. Wannabes are gonnabes. And just remember, this is what we tell everybody. It's not what you think of them, it's what they think of themselves. If they think they're a gang member and they're willing to do it, then they'll do it and they're a gang member. Okay.
A word that means honor, admiration, esteem.
But on the streets of America, Fox Files has captured on tape a bizarre new definition of respect. According to experts, it's driving a chain of juvenile violence. Our report contains some graphic footage. Here's Chris Coleman.
Young people and violence. As crime rates fall across the nation, among teenagers, violent crime rates remain alarmingly high. FBI statistics show the number of juvenile arrests for murder has gone up about 150% in the last decade. Juvenile violence has shaken communities everywhere. Behind the violence, a new value system is emerging. A code of the streets that centers around a new definition of a single word: respect.
We get on respect. If not, you ain't getting yours. You do whatever it is that you have to do to get them to respect you. And that's the top thing, you know? Just respect.
Deputies who say, fear me. I'm tougher than you. Fear me. I would say at least 90% of violent crimes occur amongst juveniles just for the fact of being dissed and not having respect.
But how could gaining respect, a word associated with virtue and honor, lead to such violence? A question we put to leading social scientist Professor Elijah Anderson, the first to identify this new and deadly code of the streets.
The heart of this code is the issue of respect. People stand off one another, stand down one another, let other people know that you're bad, that you're bad enough to take care of people who violate you.
Respect begins with gaining a reputation. Today, when it comes to reputation, the better you are, the better.
It's almost confusing. Is respect really your reputation for violence?
It is. It's really a reputation for a willingness to commit violence.
That willingness to commit violence was seen recently in an Omaha, Nebraska high school. 16-year-old Johnny Tkachuk arranged for an accomplice to tape him as he singled out a fellow student at random and beat him, breaking bones in his face and foot. The videotape earned Johnny Tkachuk a reputation as a tough guy and a year in prison.
Play the video just to show what we see on the street, and I'm sure it's being seen elsewhere in the community, is this warped sense of respect. It's not what you and I think of respect and how we were brought up to think of respect traditionally. It's a whole new meaning now. Respect is fear. You fear me, I have your respect. I have the gun, I have your respect. I have the gun, I have your respect. It's totally different now, especially with the gang members. We have a four-pronged approach to combating gang activity in the community. Several years ago, the chiefs got together and we developed this approach between the two departments. Intelligence gathering, which we do constantly, determining who's a gang member, what they're doing, what kind of crimes they're committing. That's an ongoing issue or aspect. Education, what we do, getting out in the community, teaching them about gangs, making them aware. Enforcement, again, that's what we do. We're the police. We enforce the criminal code and arrest the bad guys when we can, and the gang members. Prevention, this is where we're probably lacking here in the community. This is what we need to work on, the prevention, getting the kids, stopping them from joining the gangs before they actually get embedded in the gangs. And that's somewhere where we've really been lacking over the last few years as we've seen the problem grow. What is a gang? Just very quickly, 3 or more persons, organizations, or groups, whether formal or informal, with the primary objectives or activities being the commission of one or more criminal activities, which has an identifiable name or identifiable sign or symbol, and whose members individually or collectively commit criminal acts. What's the difference between a gang and the Boy Scouts who have a same symbol, sign, there's 3 or more? It's the criminal act that makes them a gang member. We are required by all state code to enter any validated gang members, and we do so in this area. That's how we come with 154 validated gang members. Okay. History of why gangs form. Traditionally claim, protect turf, territory, or neighborhood. That's how they join across the country, why they join. It goes back over the history of our country. You look at the movie Gangs of New York, the immigrants coming in. They were protecting their neighborhood, their turf, their individual communities from each other, and that's how they formed even then. We still see that. Profit, that's a huge factor with gangs. Money is driving these gangs now. That's why you're seeing them change and adapt. They're forming, unifying just to make money. Gangs that traditionally have fought each other are now joining together to make money, usually through narcotics. Philosophy, believe in the same thing. Motivations to join gang, structure and discipline, identification and recognition, protection from other gangs, intimidation and power, neighborhood involvement, fast, easy money. They see it, they want it. Women and sex, affiliation and love. And we hear that quite a bit with the gangs. They claim to be a family. We love each other. It's something they use to recruit the kids especially. Todd and I sat down with a gang member who started one of the local gangs recently over the last couple of years, who've been pretty active. He told us they recruit out of the middle schools because they can recruit them easier and they can control them better. And that's why they recruit in the middle schools. Family generational, we say we have second and third generation gang members now. Peer involvement and rush for criminal activity. How do you get into gang? You get beat in. That's various ways. You might have to take a beating from a certain number of gang members for a set time, or they may throw down coins and you have to fight them while you pick it up. There's different ways to get beat in. Blessed in, you bring something to the gang. There's a reason why they want you in their gang. They'll bless you in. Born in, my mom and dad was a gang member. I'm born into that gang now. And sexed in. Typically the females will be sexed in for a male-dominated gang. That's one of the ways they'll be given the choice of a beat-in or a sex-in. This is just an example of beat-in. When we tell parents, teachers, anyone, if you see a kid, your child or another child who has unexplained injuries, ask them why. What have they been doing? Who are they hanging out with? Are they changing their colors, the clothes they wear? Look for indicators. Types of local gangs. There are typically 2 types of gangs in Charlottesville. We have the homegrown gangs, which have been around for over 20 years, and now we have the nationally affiliated gangs. Membership in our gangs, age 12 to 35 plus. Our youngest validated member right now is 12 years old. multiracial. They come from different social economic backgrounds. Many attend the local schools. And currently our homegrown gangs, our neighborhood gangs, are claiming to be associated with national gangs as well. So you might be a West Side Crip or a South Side Blood. South Side and West Side being two gangs that have been around for a while. But they're claiming a national gang as well, typically for narcotic sources. It gives them more numbers. They can bring in blood members from out of state, out of the area, come down and solve a problem, or they have a connection in New York with other bloods to get better drugs. So there's a reason behind it. What are they doing in their area? Malicious woundings and assaults, vandalisms, robberies, larcenies, burglaries, weapons possession, drug dealing, drive-by shootings, homicides, home invasions. Mr. Hubert's here. He assisted Todd and I and some of the ATF agents a couple years ago with a blood member who was doing home invasions, which left one person paralyzed from a shooting here in our community. Graffiti and tattoo basics. Go through this very quickly. Well, why do they do it? Mark their territory. Bloods, they'll list their gang members' names. They call them roll calls, so you'll see that in the graffiti. Something to look for. It helps us, tells us who they are, at least their street name. Communicate or document recent events, deaths, etc. If they're traveling, they like to let people know they're there. This is over in Waynesboro, South 1st Street. Tagged over there, let them know they were there as they're passing through. So there's different reasons. Show affiliation with other gang sets. West Side, who do they like? PJC, 752, hard to read, let's say, who they don't like, 6-0, P-Spec, Longwood, and Mallside. They don't like them. So they're letting us know who they're beefing with, who they're having problems with, and who they affiliate with. Disrespect other gangs. You have Sereno 13 being crossed out by Prospect, which is blood set. So could that be a problem for us in that neighborhood? Absolutely. Numbers often represent letters of the alphabet, the letters on a telephone keypad or area codes. This is another way they represent. You look at your keypad, 752 PJC. You see 211, second letter of the alphabet is B, 11th is K, blood killer, 311, crip killer. Just different ways they try to disguise it. Just ideas on how to read it. Pay attention to symbols, locations, and colors. This will tell you who you're looking at. Some of them are similar. It changes constantly, so you constantly have to keep up. Look for signatures, street names, and aliases. Just a couple hand signs, 6 blood, 9 tray blood, 5-pointed crown, West Side Pyru dog, 900 block. There's several here represented. You got East Side, 6-0, West Side, all together. Some of these guys beef with each other, but in the community our size, they actually might be close friends or childhood friends. They might be related. Right now they're not beefing together, but if there's a problem between their two gangs, then that changes things. But when they're not beefing, they can hang out together. We see this often in our community. This is a form of communication called stacking. This kid would use it for American Sign Language. He'd probably make a pretty good living. Instead, he's learning about his gang, telling the history. They use this to give signals, etc. Talk briefly about some of the local gangs. Here you have, we talked about how they were formed, turf-based. Here you have West Side. They're disrespected here. Another form of disrespect. This is on the downtown freedom of speech wall. Some of the sets, PJC, West David, Villanova, tells you who the rivals are. 6-0, G Square, South 1st Street. They may have their own music, their own videos. Different forms of tattoos for this group, Project Run or West Side. There you go. Here's another roll call. This one's of all the dead members. This PJC has this many dead members here. Memorials for dead gang members. This young man throwing a West Side hand sign. This resulted from a bar fight or a disagreement in a local bar. Hand signs were thrown. Unfortunately, he was shot. Another gang memorial. You see 6 and 0. Some other gang signs here. Each after another shooting. East side, south side. You see their neighborhoods and some of their groups. Some of their graffiti. We'll just go through this quickly. Some of their tattoos. Different stuff that they do to identify themselves. This is a new group that popped up earlier this year. March 2011, they first came to our attention. It's one of our newest gangs. It's a homegrown gang, comprised mainly of teenagers. In October, we had several incidents resulting in several arrests for criminal activity. So there's someone we're watching now. So this goes through. It's hard to understand initially, but listen to what they're claiming. They start yelling 6 and 0, South Side, and then later they start talking about being East Side Bloods.
That's old school right there. That's old school for you. That's old school right there. That's old school, right? What you gotta say, man? You know what it is. Southside 6 and 0, G square, baby, all day. All right. Yeah. Yo, the scene is crazy right now, man. I get everything on YouTube. I'm so broke right now. Everybody know, baby. I ain't been part of it. Look, my whole niggas right here all everywhere, man. Yo, y'all man. Listen right all night long, man. These my niggas right here, look. Alright. Alright. What's y'all niggas in there? I got a mob with me. After the West illegal, yo. That's after the West illegal.
So they're out there openly representing national gangs we're seeing in the area. These are gangs that we're seeing a presence of in the area. Bloods being the largest. You can see the list there. East Coast, West Coast. Go through this very quickly, but there's basically East Coast, West Coast model. East Coast gangs, especially Bloods, Crips, fall under a Folk or People Nation. And West Coast gangs don't do that. Even blood gangs here fall under people. West Coast, they don't do that. So it's kind of confusing when you're dealing with them. You got to figure out what they align with. Okay. This is where you see in graffiti and the symbols, some of the numbers come into play with the people in the folk. The 5 and the 6-pointed crown, that type of thing. Folk represents the 6-pointed crown. They disrespect the 5. Because that's what the People Nation or the Bloods use. So we see that in the graffiti, we see it in their tattoos, you'll see examples. Some of our local sets that we're seeing with the Bloods, Black Hawk Young Gangsters, 5'9" Browns, 9 Trade Gangsters, Bloodstone Villains, Bounty Hunter Bloods. They're doing the same type of work. This is some of their graffiti. This is where their symbols come into play. CK, Crypt Killer. Just the different stuff, the 5-pointed pitchfork for the Bloods. Those are burn marks they put on themselves, golf balls for the Bloods. Some of their knowledge and rules they have to learn. Some of the doodlings that we've confiscated during search warrants. Chicago-based Black Gangster Disciples, we have them. Los Angeles Crips. keep in mind that the Crips, everyone knows the Crips started by a 15-year-old, and it's gone nationwide, actually worldwide. Okay. Some of the cliques or sets we see here, 360 Murder, Crips, rolling 20s, rolling 60s. They're doing the same type of work. Some of their knowledge. Serenos, we're seeing them here as well. Let's go into some of their graffiti. Middle school art, confiscated. MS-13, after the war in El Salvador, a lot of El Salvadorians fled to this country. Once they got here, they were having problems with the Mexicans who were already established in Southern California. That's when MS-13 started. And we actually deported MS-13 back to El Salvador. Some of the examples locally. Media influence. Gangs are glorified and glamorized in many forms of media, and children at a young age are seeing it. They're hearing them on the radio, they're seeing them in movies, videos, magazines.